Okay, so here we are. I'm back. I had filmed yesterday showing you the east side. This is the west side. Well, Fifth Avenue is right between the east and the west side. This is the west side on 15th Street. What you're looking at is sort of an empty street. You can see almost up to kind of, I'm guessing maybe 30th Street. You can see just, this is a beautiful day, Sunday, March 22nd. The street should be filled with people. And of course, that's just not the case. This is tonight at 8 o'clock will be the first day of the official shutdown. What I'm going to do is walk you over to the west side where the water is, and we'll see how busy things are or not. That's the Google building, by the way. So let's maybe walk and talk, and I'll sort of give you an update of what I understand is going on so far in New York. So New York right now has the largest number of cases in the United States. Apparently we now account for about 50% of the coronavirus cases, which is one of the reasons why our Governor Cuomo, is putting us on lockdown. Although he's not using the language lockdown, what he's saying is he's putting us on pause, but it's a lockdown. But I guess he doesn't want to use that strong language of lockdown because it would feel maybe like too strong of a word. I think he said something like that. I'm on 14th Street now. This is a really, really busy section of New York normally. You can see 14th Street going down this way. This heads down towards Fifth Avenue and Broadway down that way. Completely empty. And then we're going to go, when I turn the camera this way, this heads towards the water. And this area over here is the Meatpacking District that I'm starting to walk towards, which, if you know anything about Chelsea and the Meatpacking District, this is a bustling part of town. Young, hip, vibrant, completely dead right now. But going back to what I was saying about the coronavirus in New York, we're going on shutdown because right now, we have the largest number of cases in the United States. And from what I understand about the virus, we are racing against ventilators and hospital beds. We apparently have 53,000 hospital beds right now in New York City. And Governor Cuomo says that the experts are saying we're going to need 110,000 when the rush comes. We have 5,000 ICU units, or ICU, not ICU ventilators. We have 3,000 to 5,000 ventilators, and we're going to need 37,000 because, of course, as you know, the coronavirus is a respiratory disease. It attacks the lungs, from what I'm understanding. Speaking of attacking the lungs, I actually watched a news program. I'm just walking in the middle of the street in New York, the busiest place in New York, one of the busiest, and I'm just walking in the middle of the street. But one of the things that they say the coronavirus does, what makes it so difficult, so dangerous, is if you see the picture of it that they show up close, it has those little little things sticking out of it, those little they almost look like hooks. And they say what happens is that attaches to the lungs. And when it attaches to the lungs, it rips the lungs. And that's why it's a respiratory disease. And that's why it causes people difficulty in breathing. I was watching a program in Italy where they were showing patients, we're walking towards the water now, where they were showing patients where they were turning them over every few hours, I think because their lungs were filling up with fluid. And that kind of reminds me of the pandemic in 1918. I watched a documentary on it, and they were saying one of the gruesome ways people would die is that they would just choke on their own phlegm. In that case, liquid would fill up in their lungs and they would just drown. That actually also reminds me of the story of Jesus on the cross. I think when they do the execution and they hang you on a cross, you eventually, your lungs fill up with fluid because you're trying to hold yourself up on the cross. And I think I'm trying to remember I watched this documentary about the medical terminology of the cross years ago. I'm losing my thought. Anyway, but that's one of the dangers of it. It's a respiratory disease, and it attacks the lungs. Now we're getting to the heart of the Meatpacking District. And again, this area is always bustling. Once we get to the corner, you're going to see, when I turn the camera right, you're going to see the Chelsea Market. And Chelsea Market is like always, you got the Apple Store on the corner here. You got your restaurants down here, and and let's see. Yeah, the Chelsea Market's up there. Always a bustling part of town. Water's about 2 blocks away. And as you can see, everything is just, that's New York for you right now. That points uptown towards, you can see the tall building there in the background. That points upward towards like 42nd Street. Although from here you can probably see kind of up to the 30s. Apple Store right there. Shutdown, of course. Let's continue towards the water. So we are officially on lockdown in New York at 8 o'clock. What I understand lockdown is non-essential businesses have to lock down. From what I've been reading, what essential businesses include, believe it or not, are pet stores, which I was wondering. I was like, what happens to people's pets? Pet stores will not be closed down. Obviously, veterinary hospitals won't be shut down. Gasoline shops will not be shut down because people who do need to go to work obviously need gasoline. Of course, transportation will not be shut down. Apparently, automobile worker places will not be shut down. Trying to think. Obviously, hospitals and police department, that doesn't get shut down. Trying to think of what else. Of course, bars and cafes and all those are shut down, although there can be home delivery or delivery and pickup. Obviously, grocery stores will not be shut down, which is why they're saying it's so important that we don't hoard, because we will have access to grocery stores and to pharmacy for medical supplies. Also, hardware stores will not be shut down. Things that give you certain supplies, like a Home Depot or what have you, those are considered essential, so those will not be shut down. And I suppose one of the reasons why people were hoarding all the toilet paper is they probably were afraid that everything was going to get shut down and they wouldn't have access to toilet paper. But even in Italy, where the pandemic is really getting out of hand, you're allowed to go to the grocery store. There's long lines for the grocery store. You have to stay far apart. They only allow a few people in it at the same time, which happened yesterday in New York when I was at Trader Joe's. But they did not and do not shut down the grocery stores. This is another hot area. I mean, another really popular area in the Meatpacking District. A great hotel down there. I forget the name of this hotel, but I know it's always really bustling. And now you can see the streets are just completely empty. One thing I do love about parts of New York are these cobblestoned streets from yesteryear. Again, we're heading towards the water, continuing that way. Speaking of Italy, I know that Italy has been having its highest rates of deaths in a single day. I think yesterday it was 637 deaths in one day. And there was one town, was it Lombardy? Don't quote me on that, but where they would have an average of 2 to 3 deaths a day, and now they're having 50 a day, which is very, very frightening. I have heard reports that, and this is just some people's argument, that maybe one of the reasons Italy is having such a high rate of deaths is because they have a very concentrated amount of elderly people, and that they're smokers there. And of course, because this is a respiratory disease, that just makes sort of that area of the world unfortunately more susceptible to the devastating effects of the coronavirus. Now in America, of course, New York is being shut down today. California is being shut down. Washington has not been shut down yet. I think Ohio has been shut down as of yesterday. And obviously one of the big issues is, like I said, we're fighting against the idea of an influx of patients coming into hospitals and those hospitals being overwhelmed. One thing they're saying, if you do have the virus or if you feel sick, do not go to the hospital, because if you go to the hospital, you are taking up not only space, but you're taking up, not, what's the word thinking of? You're taking up resources that could be used for hospital workers that need to be tested, for people who are elderly, people who have compromised immune systems. And if you get tested anyway, all they're going to do, unless you're having some respiratory problems, is send you home anyway to self-isolate. So if you're feeling the symptoms, they're saying just self-isolate and take care of yourself, but don't go to the hospital, because yeah, you're going to end up using resources that they just don't have. One of the things that all over the country, all over the world, we're out of are face masks. And of course, like I said, the ventilators and the hospital beds. But I guess every time, you know, they do a test on you, if you're someone that gets tested and you're just sent home, well, that's equipment that was used to test you that could be used on someone who's in a really compromised position. I actually have a friend who said she's not feeling well, and she spoke to a virtual doctor, and they just said to stay home and see how her symptoms progress in 5 days. Obviously, if you're short of breath and you can't breathe, then yeah, you need to go to the hospital. But other than that, we're just short on supplies, so you don't need to go get tested. As a matter of fact, in New Jersey, oh yeah, also New Jersey shut down. I know New Jersey the other day, they literally opened up a testing facility for drive-through, and within 4 hours they had to close it down because they were so overwhelmed with people coming to get tests. This is the Westside Highway. Again, normally a very bustling part of town. We do have some cars on that side, but yeah. This is the Westside Highway. Now, this is the water. This is one of my favorite areas to come to, even though right now it doesn't look so great because they're in the middle of construction. But it's usually, you do have people out, though. You can see, finally, you're seeing some people on bicycles and things. But even though you see people now, trust me, it is usually much busier than this is. That's New Jersey that you're seeing over across the way. That's not New York. That's parts of New Jersey. And what was I going to say before I head out? Yeah, one thing that I was watching about Cuomo, what he was explaining is that, you know, the issue with the face masks are so important because obviously we don't have enough of them. And I'm not trying to get political here because I'm neither for nor against Trump. I'm just neutral. But one of his complaints is that Cuomo feels that the government should mandate that companies make face masks. And because the government isn't mandating it, because certain companies are volunteering to do it, which is great and everything, but what ends up happening is you get price gouging, you get companies who are going to, you know, maybe sell to the highest bidder, whereas if the government uses that, 1950 Defense Act and forces companies to make the face mask, the prices don't get gouged, and the government gets to decide who gets how many face masks depending on the need. My sister-in-law, by the way, is making me a face mask because I don't have one. Although I do have I did make a face mask the other day using an eye mask that, you know, you normally put on your eye, and I put it down on my mouth, and I think it worked pretty well. I don't know how efficient it was, but if you're just desperate and you need something, I guess you could always do that. Anyway, so yeah, this is the Westside Highway, New York, the day of the shutdown, which officially starts at 8 o'clock tonight. And I just wanted to show you some of New York. And this is just the beginning, guys, unfortunately. Cuomo said that the peak isn't going to happen for another 40 days. And I can't imagine that they're going to suddenly let everybody outside during the peak. So I'm personally trying to prepare myself with the idea. Oh, that's the Freedom Tower, by the way. It's the Freedom Tower right there, where the towers used to stand before they fell in 2001. I'm personally trying to prepare myself for the idea of being on lockdown for 3 months. Anyway, just wanted to show you a little bit of New York. I'm going to go out and finish enjoying the rest of the day. This might be one of my last chances to enjoy the outside. Although they do say we are allowed to go out and get exercise as long as we're solo. We're not clustering, we're solo. So this is my solitary exercise. And this is Yamina Collins signing off. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.